Most people think disrespect is loud, insults, dismissal, open hostility. But the most dangerous form of disrespect is quieter than that. It sounds like politeness. It looks like being ignored. And it happens to certain people everywhere they go. They're not hated, they're not attacked. They're simply never taken seriously. And here's the uncomfortable truth. People who are never respected usually don't realize it's happening, because the system that produces disrespect doesn't announce itself. It runs silently in the background of human behavior. This matters right now more than ever, because modern life rewards visibility, confidence, and social proof, not competence. And if you don't understand how respect actually works, you can lose it without ever knowing why. Let's start with something simple. Respect is not about morality. It's not about being nice. And it's definitely not about working hard. Respect is a psychological calculation. Every time someone meets you, their brain makes a fast, mostly unconscious assessment. Can this person impose consequences? Can this person withhold value? Can this person walk away? That's it. Respect is not granted because of who you are, it's granted because of what it would cost to ignore you. Now, here's where things get uncomfortable. People who are never respected usually send signals that lower that perceived cost, not intentionally, not maliciously, but consistently. And once those signals are sent, they compound. Think about how financial debt works. A small loan at first, barely noticeable, but interest builds, and over time, the balance becomes crushing. Disrespect works the same way. It starts with one small behavior, over-explaining, apologizing when nothing went wrong, laughing at things that weren't funny. Each one seems harmless. Together, they form a pattern, and patterns are what humans respond to. Here's the part most people miss. Respect is less about what you say and more about what you tolerate. When someone interrupts you and you keep talking faster instead of stopping, a signal is sent. When someone dismisses your idea and you immediately soften it, a signal is sent. When someone crosses a boundary and nothing happens, a signal is sent. No one consciously thinks, I should disrespect this person. They simply adjust their behavior to match the cost. Low cost equals low respect. This is why some people with average intelligence, average skills, and average ethics command enormous respect, and others, often more capable, do not. It's not hypocrisy, it's psychology. Now let's talk about the mechanism underneath all of this. Human groups run on informal hierarchies, not written, not voted on, but constantly negotiated. Each interaction slightly updates your position, and the currency of that negotiation is behavior under pressure. People who are never respected tend to collapse under social pressure in predictable ways. They rush to fill silence. They seek approval mid-sentence. They trade clarity for likability. Ironically, the more they try to be accepted, the less respect they receive. Because respect is not built through accommodation, it's built through constraint. Here's a quiet irony. The people who say the least often carry the most weight, not because they're mysterious, but because they don't devalue their words. Scarcity matters. When someone speaks constantly, explains everything, and reacts to everything, their presence becomes cheap, not emotionally, economically, and humans are very sensitive to social economics. Now let's zoom out for a moment. Modern culture tells people to be open, expressive, agreeable, and endlessly communicative. That sounds healthy, in theory. But in practice, it trains people to leak leverage. It teaches them to negotiate against themselves, to preempt rejection by lowering their own value. This is why you'll often see the least respected person in the room doing the most work, talking the most, trying the hardest, and the most respected person doing almost nothing. That's not because effort is bad, it's because visible effort without boundaries signals dependence, and dependence is expensive to respect. Now, here's where things get even more uncomfortable. Once someone is categorized as safe to ignore, it's very hard to reverse. Not impossible, but costly. Because now the group has a shared narrative. This person doesn't push back. This person adapts. This person will accept less. Changing that narrative creates friction, and humans hate friction. So instead of updating their perception, they double down on it. They interrupt more. They consult you less. They decide for you without asking. And when you finally assert yourself, it feels sudden, aggressive, out of character. Not because it is, but because it violates the role you were silently assigned. This is why late boundary setting often fails, not due to weakness, but due to timing. Respect, like compound interest, rewards early discipline. Now let's address a myth. Many people believe respect comes from impressing people, from achievements, from credentials. Those help briefly, but they decay fast. What lasts is predictability of consequences. People who are respected don't threaten, they don't explain, they don't dramatize. They simply act in ways that make certain behaviors expensive. They leave conversations, they withdraw access, they go quiet instead of reactive, and they do it consistently. That consistency trains others. Here's a subtle detail most people overlook. Respect isn't about dominance, it's about self-containment. The person who needs the interaction least controls it. That's why desperation, emotional, social, or professional, is so corrosive to respect. It shows urgency, and urgency signals vulnerability. Now zoom out again. In workplaces, relationships, and even families, the least respected person is often the most transparent one. The one whose emotions are easiest to read, whose intentions are obvious, whose reactions are predictable. Transparency feels honest, but psychologically it removes mystery, and mystery creates caution. Caution creates respect. This doesn't mean becoming cold or manipulative, it means becoming selective. Selective with words, selective with reactions, selective with access. People who are never respected usually give everything up front: attention, availability, emotional labor. There's no cost to consuming them, so they're consumed. Now, here's the final uncomfortable thought. Disrespect is rarely about other people being cruel. It's about incentives. Humans adapt to what costs them nothing. If there's no penalty for ignoring you, interrupting you, or overlooking you, that behavior will continue. Not out of malice, out of efficiency. So the real question isn't why people don't respect you. The real question is, what does it currently cost them not to? And what would have to change for that calculation to feel different? That answer is rarely comfortable, but that's where respect actually begins.